What is up, guys? This is your man Warren Maxey, and welcome to our premiere edition of Houses and Hustlers, where we show you the top entrepreneurs. They come and give you information, education, and game on their particular industry. And not only that, we get a chance to get a little insight as to how they actually live, see their homes, their houses, and I got my partner with me as well.
Hi everybody, Mary Van Alstyne here, and I'm with Landmark Title, and today we have our hustler, Carrie Hughes with People's Mortgage, aka the Lone Hustler. Carrie's won several prestigious awards with People's Mortgage, including the President's Club for 7 years straight. She's also been nationally recognized as a top loan originator in the Scotsman Guide. Welcome, Carrie.
Okay, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. Okay, my story, how I got started. Well, I was a terrible driver when I was in high school. I had several car accidents, and the final straw, I had taken my mom's car into someone's backyard and almost turned it into a boat. So my mom said, you do not come home without a job because the insurance went through the roof. So I just kind of walked around all these little complexes in this by the house, and I was hired on the spot at a real estate company and got my start there. And I was in high school, I was the receptionist, then kind of advanced to the office manager role, which was exciting. Got my real estate license and then was offered a position to assist a mortgage brokerage. And so I did all the grunt work. We didn't have all the cool assistant terms at that time. So I did all the paperwork. I had to drive to the mortgage companies, deliver packages. We didn't have emails. Everything was in a fax that had to come through, and I had to wait for all that. And then I just went out on my own I was probably 22 when I went completely out on my own. But I've been in the industry now for over 20 years.
Awesome.
Okay, good. And so, how did you find yourself here at People's Mortgage? What led you here to People's Mortgage?
So I've been with People's now for over 10 years. Before the banking world, we were more wholesale. We did brokerages. So I was with a brokerage, and we all kind of merged here when the market shifted. So 2010, everything changed. We had to get licensed. So I got my loan originator license in 2010, and we had taken the company we were with on the wholesale side and just kind of merged and brought a branch to People's Mortgage. And I was with them for a very long time until I came out on my own and did my own branch with People's Mortgage.
Let me ask you said in 2010, so was that obviously it was post like 2008, 2009, when the crash and everything like that. So was that when they implemented a lot more regulations at that point?
Yes.
You said that? Okay.
SAFE Act. That was the SAFE Act. So they basically wanted to make sure that there was no more predatory lending. So it was to prevent what happened at that point in time from ever happening again.
Okay, great. Yeah, because around that time frame, there was a lot going on, and they've implemented a lot of federal regulations since then. But let me talk to you about something important, right? Well, all of it's important when you're getting a mortgage and doing loan originations, etc. But specifically credit.
Yes.
Okay. Now it's funny that we're having this conversation with you as our first hustler here, and because this literally happened to me within the last couple of months. My cousin called me from New York, right? And he just had a baby. And he called me up and he saw what I was doing in the real estate space and so forth. And he said, hey, I just had a baby and I want to buy my first house, right? And I was talking to him a little bit. I said, congratulations. Yeah, get your first house. That's definitely the way to go. And I said, but what's your credit score? And he said to me, oh, cuz, my credit score is not that great. It's like 723, right? This is a conversation we just had a couple months ago. I had this conversation with him, right? And then, like a month or so ago, I had a friend, also from New York. They called me and they were like, yo, Warren, congratulations on everything you're doing, right? He says, how do you get a house? We had the same conversation. And I said, well, what's your credit score? And he said, well, it must be good because I just bought a brand new Toyota 2021. And I got it from the car dealership, and it was they gave it to me, and it was 18% interest. So my credit must be good. So yeah, that's a true story. So it's amazing that we are talking about this topic, and I get a lot of questions about credit and purchasing a home and stuff like that. So can you talk a little bit about educating the people as to credit? Because the second person, I couldn't even say anything. He told me he had a car for 18% interest. I'm like, what? And he thought his credit was good. And the other person, my cousin, he was like, my credit's bad, but it was like 723. So you talk a little bit about what you do to educate the buyers, the people who want to get a home, but they don't know where their credit is.
Yes.
How do you educate them?
So credit is essential, obviously, for a mortgage. That's how we determine your credit worthiness, if we're going to give you a loan or not. We're going to give you hundreds of thousands of dollars. We want to make sure you can repay it back. A lot of people have a very bad conception as to what is required for credit scores, and it seems that it's kind of off, it's off balance. The people with your 723 credit scores are concerned that it's not that great, and then your clients that are getting an 18% interest rate on their car thinks it's pretty good because they were able to get a financing. We can go to really low FICO scores. The problem with when you have the lower FICO scores is your credit worthiness is not looking that pretty because it's low for a reason. You've typically had recent derogatory lates or things that have come up. So there's a lot to credit, a lot to understand. There could be very thin credit profiles, or could be some extensive credit profiles. So it's important that we kind of get together way in advance to look at the credit to make sure that there's not going to be too many hurdles. Now, a low credit score does not disqualify anybody from obtaining financing, so we still have options. It's when you have the really recent derogatory items, if you just went late on a credit card. So what they're looking for is if you have an issue paying a minimum payment of maybe $25, are you going to be capable to actually make the mortgage payment on time? So we have to kind of go through and see what the risk factors are, and then we're kind of gambling with it. So you always come to us, we look at it. If you have a lower credit score, we have so many options that we can look at to see about boosting the credit scores for you. So we can help. A lot of people think that they can fix their credit themselves because everyone has Credit Karma. They all think they can fix it themselves. I do not recommend trying that. Come to us, we don't charge you to do it. We'll go through and say, what if we pay off this or pay down this? What's it going to do to the score? What's the time frame for it to improve? What's going to actually get us an automated approval so we do qualify for the mortgage too? So somebody with a 720 FICO can get financing, but it may not be the financing that they were looking for. So it's definitely something that we'll look at for everybody and get it fixed and walk them through how to use your utilization, how to keep the percentages in line so that you don't have any issues down the road. You
don't charge them for that service, right? I mean, it's a mutual benefit. Do they have to pay for that service?
No.
Or no? Okay, so it's mutually beneficial for you to help them. Now we were talking off camera about the simulator and how that ties in. So how does that actually work with the simulator we were talking about earlier?
So we pull credit through a credit reporting agency, and we'll take all the trade lines that you have, and let's say you have a $5,000 credit card, but you also have a $5,000 balance. So we know right off the top that is triggering the higher risk factor because your utilization's too high. So we can go to these little simulators and say, well, what if we paid it down to $4,000? And let's say it didn't change the credit score that much, but the client doesn't have that much more money to spend, so we're kind of stuck with that amount. We could change the time frame. We can look and see if 3 months does anything different, if 6 months does anything different. If it's not changing and they're kind of stuck, then we'll just have to look at other trade lines, maybe bring it down more, because ideally you want your utilization below 30-20% or so.
Okay. And I know, Mary, you were talking about, and I didn't know this, we were talking about this earlier, about the title company when they're getting a mortgage and how that relates to the lender and what they can do, if anything.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't realize, because not a lot of people understand what the title company does, that the title company and the lender do most of the communication. So my question for Carrie would be, since there's so much going on in the background of the process once you start a loan, could you give some tips on how people can kind of help facilitate and streamline the process as far as buyers who just went under contract or just got a loan from you?
I would say pay attention to your emails, check your mail, respond accordingly. There's a lot of things that are sent to you from the title company that will ensure that we have a quick closing. We have no delays with closing. We don't have any issues with how somebody wants to hold title. So we don't always know if somebody has a significant other or partner that they would like to be on title. And so it's important that whenever something is requested of the client, that they complete it and get it back as quickly as possible. And if they have questions with any of the documents that are required, they can come to either of us. We'll walk you through it. Just to make it as seamless as possible. It's important to get everything requested in a timely fashion.
Awesome.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about seamless because, full disclosure, I mean, I've done business with Carrie. I should say my daughter has. We had a situation about a year ago, and my daughter was getting another property, right? And the agent, and I don't like to, bag on nobody, but the rep, he was janky. I mean, he was like, as my daughter would say, boo-boo, right? He was just like not the business, right? So, but seriously though, because she was trying to get a house, and we didn't understand what was going on in the background with the agent. The agent wound up getting fired, and luckily, I had a friend who knew you, right? And then we called you and it was like, yo, we need some help. We need help over here, right? And you talk about seamless because it seemed like you guys really were able to do it without an issue. And so, and one thing that I noticed, you had like other people that were working with you, and it didn't seem to be that case with the initial lender. So can you tell us about your team and how that works and how you make it? It seemed very seamless. We were like, oh, we should have just wish we knew her before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But talk a little bit about that. And she did wind up getting the house. So it all worked out in the end.
Loan hustlers in the business to close loans.
There you go. You hustling that one. Yeah, no doubt. Okay, no doubt. Yeah, but tell us about like your team and because we dealt with a couple of people. She dealt with a couple of people who, and it seemed like it was like a team effort.
It is. It was. I have an amazing team. So we all work together. We all need each other. It's almost impossible to do as many steps that are required with the financing process with just one person. It can be done, but not if you want to really grow your business. So I believe I spoke to your daughter late at night one night and kind of went through everything with what we were going to need, set the expectations up front. So as long as the client is prepared for everything up front, I think it's going to help start the process. We have a really good system. We have dialers that are calling people, and then we've got my sales specialist, Bryce and Christine. They start off the file from the very beginning. So when I spoke to your daughter, I had one of them reach out to her. They're gonna help get the application completed, make sure it's complete, looks pretty, no questions about anything on there. Get the documents that are needed. And it's important that we set the expectations with the client up front as to why we need these documents. Because as long as I have it all, we won't turn into the other guy who made the mistake. So we want to get everything in a quick, timely fashion. So that's what the sales specialists are doing. We also have a pre-qual specialist. So we have like a junior underwrite on the file, make sure there's nothing that could cause a hurdle halfway through the process, because we know how emotional this process can be for several people that are involved in the transaction. Our pre-qual specialist will order verifications of employment, tax transcripts, all that good stuff so that we don't have any surprises. They then go back to my sales specialist. Sales specialist reviews the file with me. We look at it together, put the solid game plan together, and then we call it a handshake, basically. And what we're doing is we're telling the client what they're approved for and what the terms are. Because there's lots of different financing options, and some people have their head set on a certain option because they think that's what's best because their neighbor did it. So we kind of guide them through what the financing option is and why we've chosen that one, if there were any other ones they were available for. And then once we get an accepted contract, we have Ashley, who's my LOA. She's the assistant on the file, and her and I together work directly with the processor and the client to get the file to closing. So
okay, beautiful.
We have a great team. We all are here every single day together.
Yeah, and you said something very interesting about growing your business, delegating, stuff like that. So I see that as very important. You can, I think, translate that to like any business, I think, All right, so what do you see your business going in the next 5 years? What do you see yourself? With People's Mortgage, open up your own mortgage company yourself, or what do you see yourself?
People's Mortgage is all about the people.
Okay, there you go. Okay,
I'm a
she said about the people. You know what I was like? We went into her office earlier. Now this is no joke. I felt like maybe she just put this there because we were coming in or whatever. But it actually said Hustler on her desk. Like it was like it says Hustler, and her license plate says Loan Hustler. I was like, oh, that's cool. Then it's fitting that she's like,
It was meant to be.
Yeah, exactly. It was meant to be, right? So that was all a good thing. And so, this is Houses and Hustlers, right? So, what we try to do is give the viewers a little insight, obviously, to your business acumen and things of that nature, but also, now I've seen like, little snippets of your house, and I got to think, because we were like, little snippets, and I was like, that's bad, right? But anyway, so tell us about, your spot, your home, because, our folks don't just talk it, they walk it too. So tell us a little bit about the house and, when you bought it, what you like about it, all the great stuff.
So I built my house about, what's going on, 6 years in March. I built it, I live on an acre property, fully fenced, a huge pool, lots of travertine, in-ground trampoline for the kids and I to jump on.
Okay.
Ramada, fire pits, fireplaces. It's pretty. I had a dream of a tropical resort backyard, so I made sure the landscapers brought in some very large palm trees.
Okay, nice.
I didn't want to wait for them to grow.
Just brought them in, put them in the spot. Okay, well, you got it like that. We say we're growing on, hey, you got it like that. You got it like that. You know what I'm saying? You got to brand.
Well, they can take years to grow, so you want the instant like
boom.
oasis.
Yeah. I hustled for it, so I'm gonna get what I want, right? Yeah. Okay. Cool. But I just want to thank you, for being our first hustler coming on and sharing your experiences with us, and we hope that we can touch bases down the road, and come back and share some more in the market as far as like what's going on, interest rates, the lending industry for our viewers, and we appreciate you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Welcome.